So, the story of this movie kicks off 800 years ago. Way out in an old, dusty desert, we see a spaceship come down. When that spaceship landed, it kicked up a crazy dust storm in the desert, and all the folks living nearby just started running for their lives. Among those who were running, there was a girl, and her necklace actually fell to the ground while she was trying to get away. After that, the scene fast forwards to the present day. 800 years have passed, and at the exact spot where that spaceship landed, there's a big research project going on. This is where a young guy named Wu finds that very same necklace that fell off the girl's neck. A professor checks it out and says this necklace is super old and could be really valuable. Wu is pretty stoked to hear that. Just then, a man named John shows up. He just straight up says that anything found there is his property. Wu, though, doesn't back down. He tells John, "Where are you even from? This place belongs to China, and anything we find here is going to belong to the Chinese government." John gets really ticked off by this and leaves. We find out that Wu and his professor's team have been doing research here for a bunch of years. After all their hard work, they discovered that hundreds of years ago, there was actually a city called Loulan buried under this land. They also found some old pieces of wood there. When they put these pieces together, it formed a map of Loulan City. Looking at this map and the girl's necklace, the professor came up with a story. The way the city looked underground told them that there had to have been a famine there 800 years back. And back then, this type of necklace was only worn by monks. Their monk, who was their religious leader, was a girl, and this was her necklace. When the famine hit, she probably ran towards the monk temple, but then, as the storm got worse, she died. The scene then goes back to the past, and we see that same monk Wu and his team were talking about. Her name was Yaman. She was trying to get away from the storm with her companion, Jin. They barely made it to the temple, but Jin was in really bad shape. We learned that Jin was actually the king of Loulan City, but now he was doing poorly. He was breathing his last breaths. During this time, he told Yaman to steer clear of his brother because he wasn't a good person. Jin died right after saying that, and Yaman, feeling awful, went inside the temple. She started praying to God, saying, "Please God, save this city from the famine." As she kept praying, the lamps in the temple kept lighting up on their own. And all of a sudden, a super bright light, almost like the sun, came out of a mirror inside the temple. And then, just like that mirror fell to the ground and broke. Yaman felt like God was trying to tell her something through this broken mirror. The scene shifts from there to the present day. Back in the present, we see Wu. Wu and his professor's team, after gathering all the old stuff they found from Loulan City, were heading back to the university. They had no idea that someone was following them. Two guys were secretly on their train. They were actually working for their enemy, John. John wanted to grab all the Loulan City artifacts. Because Loulan City disappeared 800 years ago, if someone finds it today, the government would give them a huge reward. John wanted to get all the evidence and items from Loulan City himself and claim that big reward from the government. It's shown that John's guys were about to shoot Wu, because Wu had stopped them from getting their hands on the Loulan City items. Before these guys could kill Wu, all the passengers on the train suddenly stood up. They all had pistols, and we found out they were actually Chinese soldiers. They grabbed both of John's associates and threw them right off the train. After that, Wu started checking his luggage. The moment he opened his suitcase, he saw the same mirror we saw with Yaman 800 years ago. Wu got scared when he saw this mirror because it was broken, and he thought maybe he broke it. But he didn't know the truth. This mirror was already broken to begin with. Wu brought this mirror back to his house. Even after trying really hard, he couldn't get the mirror to stick back together. The scene then jumps back to the past, where we see Yaman again. She was looking into this mirror and praying to God once more to fix everything. As soon as she prayed, we see that weird magic started happening inside the mirror, and the mirror began to fix itself. In the present time, Wu's mirror also started fixing itself the exact same way, and now a light was coming from inside it. Suddenly, Wu heard a girl's voice. He looked around. There was no girl there, so he got scared. All of a sudden, when his eyes landed on the mirror, he saw Yaman there. Through this mirror, Yaman could see Wu, and Wu could see Yaman. This clearly meant that this mirror had connected two different timelines. Yaman felt like Wu was a god, so she started praying to him. Back here, Wu couldn't figure out who Yaman was or how she appeared inside this mirror. To get answers, he started looking closely at Yaman's surroundings through the mirror. Then he saw some pictures in Yaman's background. He had also seen these exact pictures on the map of Loulan City, and now, without wasting any time, he finally understood that this mirror had connected two timelines and he was actually seeing Loulan City from 800 years ago. Wu told Yaman that he wasn't a god but just a regular man talking to her from the future. Wu asked Yaman, "Can you show me your ancient things?" Yaman did what he asked. After that, Wu asked Yaman a ton of questions about Loulan City, and Yaman started answering all of his questions. Wu found out everything they wanted to know about Loulan City through Yaman. Wu was super happy knowing all this. He had found answers to every question. But before Wu could ask Yaman anything else or tell her something, he saw that Yaman's health was getting worse. He quickly went to his fridge, grabbed some food and passed it to Yaman. Yaman also reached her hand inside this mirror, grabbed the food and started eating it. This food was incredibly delicious. Yaman had never eaten anything like it in her time. While eating, Yaman started talking to Wu, and in no time, they developed a really good understanding between them. It's now shown that very quickly, Wu wrote a book about Loulan City using all the information Yaman gave him. For making such a huge discovery, Wu was also given a very big reward by the government. At this ceremony, we see that John was there too, and he was pretty upset about Wu's success. He couldn't understand how Wu figured out so many truths so fast. He just knew there had to be some kind of secret behind it. Anyway, we see that Wu goes back to his house and uses that mirror to contact Yaman again. Today, Yaman looked pretty sad. Wu asked, "What happened to you?" Yaman replied that a huge disaster had struck her place. "Our king is really bad. Before Jin was the king here, he was very kind, but then his brother betrayed him and took over. Since then, this city has just been going downhill." Yaman also told Wu about that spaceship we saw landing in the past at the beginning of the story. Yaman told him that God had arrived here in a flying object, which that bad king wanted to kill. Wu realized that Yaman was talking about aliens. They must have come here in that spaceship, and that king must have killed the aliens. While these two were talking, we see that Wu's companion was listening to all their conversations from outside the door. Before she could even come inside, John's people kidnapped her from behind. And now, through this girl, John figured out Wu's secret, how he wrote a book on Loulan City so quickly. That's why John now sent two of his men to Wu's house to steal that mirror. Meanwhile, we see that Wu was sleeping with that mirror right next to him. He didn't keep this mirror far from him anymore because he had truly fallen in love with Yaman. He just couldn't sleep without seeing Yaman or talking to her. Through this mirror, Yaman had become a part of his life, a really important part. Every night, Wu used to read a poem to her, which Yaman now couldn't sleep without hearing. Even after Yaman fell asleep, Wu would just keep looking at her. Now, even in his dreams, only Yaman started appearing. It's shown that John's two men quietly snuck into Wu's house, but luckily, Wu sensed them arriving, so grabbing his mirror, he escaped out the back window of his room, hid on one side and tried to tell Yaman his whole situation through the mirror, how a man named John was after him and wanted to take this mirror. Before Wu could tell her more, John put his hand on Wu's shoulder and snatched the mirror from his hand. John's men then caught Wu. On the other side, it's shown that Yaman had also been caught by the Loulan soldiers inside her temple. And because Wu and Yaman were now far from each other, the portal of this mirror closed. Yaman was then taken in front of the king, and the king demanded to know the truth about this mirror. Yaman didn't say anything, but her soldier blurted out that it was a magical mirror. He said through it they could even go to heaven, but only Yaman could open this mirror because she was a monk. The king then grabbed Yaman and took her near the tomb of God. This wasn't actually a tomb, it was an alien spaceship where they had killed and tied up the aliens. In the present, we see that John was also taking Wu to that alien spaceship. Once they reached the alien spaceship, John told Wu to open the portal of this mirror. Meanwhile, 800 years ago, the exact same thing was happening with Yaman. The king was telling her to open the mirror's portal. At different times, both Yaman and Wu climbed onto that alien spaceship, and as soon as they brought that mirror in front of their faces, a storm of light started coming out. A portal opened, and both timelines merged, which meant Wu and Yaman could now see each other. They were standing right in front of each other. As soon as Wu saw Yaman, he quickly hugged her. Yaman was also really emotional seeing him, because she had started loving him too now. After this, Wu moved Yaman away from him and said, "Everything will be fine, don't worry." John got furious seeing all this, and in a fit of rage, he shot Wu. His gunshot caused this portal to start closing. On the other side, 800 years ago, Yaman was also captured by the king's soldiers. Back here, Wu, who was shot in the shoulder, was rescued by his companions to save his life. And from this closing portal, the king and many of his soldiers were pulled into this future world. It shown that Yaman was left behind 800 years ago, and as soon as the king came here, the portal slammed shut. This evil king asked John, "Is this heaven?" John replied, "Yes, this is heaven, and I am your God." Hearing this, that evil king got even angrier because he wanted to be God himself. In his anger, he snatched his weapon from his soldier's hand and killed one of John's men. Just like that, a war broke out between John and the king. The king's soldiers had old weapons, while John's people had regular pistols. Before the fight between them could get any more intense, suddenly a sandstorm came back to this place, and all of them were swallowed by the storm. Luckily, Wu and his companion, who had already gotten away, survived this storm. The scene then skips forward many years. Wu is now an old man. He's come back to this place again because research is still happening here. A different team was now doing research here, and they had found more old stuff. He picks up one of those things and looks at it. Something was written on it in an ancient language. After talking to Yaman for so long, he had learned the ancient language, so he could read this language super easily. The same poem that Wu used to read to Yaman in the old days was written on this stone. It was written by Yaman. Seeing it, tears came to his eyes. And looking at this piece, Wu also got an idea. Yaman didn't die that day when the portal closed. She had survived and spent her entire remaining life remembering Wu. He smiles too, remembering Yaman, and this movie's story ends here. What an incredible journey The Legend of Loulan 2021 takes us on. This film masterfully blends ancient history with futuristic concepts, creating a unique and deeply emotional narrative of connection across time. If you love this deep dive into The Legend of Loulan and want more explanations of unique and fantastic movies like this, then make sure to subscribe to AS Explaining right now. Don't forget to hit that like button, share this with your friends, and leave a comment below, telling us what you thought of this incredible story or what movie you'd like us to explain next. Your support means the world and helps us bring you more amazing content.